gana action. Niba ushaka kwiga indimi, gana action. Ushaka kuba umusirimu, gana action.
Welcome to Action College YouTube channel. I'm Teacher Elijah, the teacher of English. Today we are going to share different best ways of using as expressions in English. So today I brought 5 as expressions. The first is as much as well as soon as far as, and as long as. With no wasting much time, we can start by the first expression, which is as soon as. As soon as, by definition, it's a conjunction that means immediately after. When I talk of immediately after, this is doing action, doing act of certain activity after a certain moment. And as the example shows here, we have one which, the first one which says that, call me as soon as you arrive. This means what? The person chooses to state such a kind of sentence when is informing or is telling someone that when immediately after arriving home, make sure that you call me. So this is like immediately after arriving at home, you have to call the person. So better if you find that you want to talk to someone, maybe on the phone, and you want to inform him or her that immediately after doing a certain activity he has to do something, it is better to use as soon as. The second example is like, she left as soon as the meeting ended. This means what? That after the last point, after the last word of the meeting, immediately she had to leave. So this means what? That you may be like at the church service, and then they ask you that, where is the fellow that you've been together with? So better to respond and say that she left or he left immediately after the church service, which means that as soon as can be or can replace the place of using immediately. And then we can also, as the second expression is as far as. As far as a definition, this is an expression, or as far as indicates the limit of something, if basing on the distance, knowledge, or a concern. It can also be like showing a last distance, or at the top, at the peak of the knowledge the person has. Then can describe the physical range, where you can say as far as the eye can see. So the physical range. When I talk of the physical range, it's like the things which you physically see or you can touch. And then you can feel like your eyes can watch or can see at a certain distance. So it is better to use this as far as expression. And then it can also be used to express mental scope. When we talk of mental scope, it's like, by using this example, it's like, as far as I know. This means that you've just browsed all the things that you have in your mind, and you found that at the extent that you know, you have to state these things in this way. Better to say, as far as I know, to mean that at the extent, at the highest extent that you know that thing, that's how you're going to express it. Examples, we have, as far as I am concerned, we are ready. As far as I'm concerned, we are ready. That is the first example. The second is like, you can walk as far as the next mile mark. It's like, to the extent that the next mile starts from, you have to walk and reach there. The third is, as far as safety goes, this is solid. Then the third, it is as much as. As much as, by definition, it is an expression that we use by showing comparison. This denotes equal quantity or degree. And then consists, it is like although or even though. Examples we have on comparison is like, she loves travel as much as he does. You can see here we have she, which starts for girl, and we have he, which starts for boy. And then this means that the girl here does a travel as the boy here, as the male does, at the same extent, at the same degree. That's how they both do a travel. And then the second is like concession. Concession is like, as much as I would like to help, I am busy. It's like, I told you that these concessions comes with to me like although or even though. So you can better use, instead of using even though or although, you can also use as much as expression. The third is degree. Degree, this is like he worked as much as possible to finish. To mean like in every way that brings it on the possible way, that's how he tried to work so that the task can be finished. Then, as well as, by a definition, this is an expression that means that in addition to. It's like connecting elements with a slightly more formal tone than others. When you use as well as, it sounds more formal than saying like and. Example is like, she speaks Spanish as well as French. So you can be, some people here, I hear them using that she speaks Spanish and French. No, from now, if you really enjoy the lessons from this channel, make sure that you stop the habit of using and, but you bring in as well as expressions if you really tried or if you had time to follow this lesson. And then the second example is like John as well as Mary is attending the conference. John as well as Mary is attending the conference. This is as well as expression. Then all I have to say is thank you for being with me for today's lesson, for today's session, where I had to share with you different as expressions which are used in English. And I hope for more explanations, for more practices and more use, you better follow the lessons from this channel. If not, you are most welcome in Action College in all 7 branches that we have in this country, which are RUBAVU, there is a branch, Kigali, have 2 branches there. So to mean that wherever and whenever you need Action College, is there for you to enrich you with English skills that you best need. Thank you for watching.
Gana action, niba ushaka kwiga indimi, gana action, ushaka kuba umusirimu, gana action.